Hello students. So this is the next video, and in this video we will learn how to separate different components of air. And this separation of different components of air we will do by fractional distillation. We have learnt about distillation and fractional distillation both, and the components of the air, they are separated by fractional distillation. Why? Because the boiling point of different components, it is less than 25 K. So the main components of air, you must be knowing, there are three main gases in the air: nitrogen, oxygen, and the inert gas argon. And carbon dioxide is also there, water vapors are there, dust particles are there, and some other gases, sulfur dioxide and other gases are also there. But the main three components are nitrogen, oxygen and argon. Their percentage is about 78.1% by volume nitrogen, 20.9% oxygen, about 0.9% argon, and carbon dioxide very low, 0.03% carbon dioxide. So these are the major components which can be separated by fractional distillation, and these gases then are used for various purposes in industry also, and in other purpose also. So we start here how the fractional distillation of air is done. All of us know air is a homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous means all these gases, they are present in the air and they form a homogeneous mixture. First of all, these are the different components, different parts of the fractional distillation plant. First is filter, then compressor. This is compressor, this is coolant, this is separator, this is expansion jet, fractional distillation column, and this is the container reservoir in which oxygen is collected. So these are different parts of the distillation plant of air. First is filter. Through this filter, different dust particles and other impurities, they are filtered. And now the clean air, devoid of dust particles, it enters the compressor. As the name indicates, this compressor compresses the air. How it will compress? It will compress by increasing the pressure. The pressure is increased with these parts and the air is compressed. What will happen when the air is compressed? Its molecule, they become close to each other. The volume reduces. So after the compressor, the air become hot due to high pressure, and this hot air, it comes to the next chamber, which is coolant. As the name indicates, it will cool air. How it will cool air? Air is in this chamber. In the chamber, this spiral steel or this coil is present. In this coil, freezing cold water from the lower side is going and it is coming up. Due to this freezing cold water, the air in the chamber, which is hot now, it become cool, and this water supply is regular. The water is going from the lower side, coming from the upper side, cooling the air in the chamber. So in this chamber, the air is cooled. Now the air is, it should not be hot, it should be cool. Now the air is compressed as well as cold. So now this cold, or I should write cold. This cold and compressed air, it is coming through this pipe into the next chamber. Now the air is compressed in compressor, it is cooled in this coolant. Now the air is cold and compressed and its temperature is quite low. Now it comes into this separator. The temperature is so low, we want to liquefy air so that different components can be separated, and air can be liquefied at very low temperature around minus 200 degree centigrade. So in this separator, if the temperature is minus 78 degrees centigrade, the carbon dioxide, it comes down as dry ice. You know, the solid carbon dioxide is known as dry ice because carbon dioxide directly convert to solid without converting into liquid. So this is how this carbon dioxide at minus 78 degrees centigrade, it comes out from this opening as dry ice or solid carbon dioxide. Its freezing point is minus 78 degree centigrade. Now the rest of the gases, they come from this separator to the fractional distillation column. This is the fractional distillation column. Here now the air is in liquefied state and the temperature is around minus 200 degree centigrade. This liquefied air from this expansion jet, it is expanded. When the air is expanded, the temperature further lowers and the pressure, it somehow increases. If suppose all the air not liquefies in separator and here, then this air again sent to this compressor and this coolant to further so that it can be liquefied again. From this expansion jet, the liquefied air, it comes to this fractional distillation column and its temperature is around minus 200 degree centigrade. One thing we should know that the boiling point of nitrogen is 196 degree centigrade. The boiling point of argon is minus 186 degree centigrade and the boiling point of oxygen is minus 183 degree centigrade. So from liquid, to convert them from liquid to gaseous state, so much temperature is needed. We can see here that the temperature in between them is less than 25 degrees C or K. So we have to use this fractional distillation and we cannot use normal simple distillation as the temperature, the boiling point should be more than 25 K. Now this is having the highest boiling point, this is the lowest boiling point. From expansion jet, when the liquefied air comes into this fractional distillation, it is slightly warmed up. When we warm the air here, so first of all, this nitrogen, it turns into gaseous state. The liquid nitrogen at, you know, the temperature is minus 200. When it is slightly warm up, then first minus 200, it goes to 199, then it goes to minus 198, then it goes to minus 197 and ultimately it goes to 196 degree centigrade when we warm up this liquefied air. When this temperature achieved minus 196 degree centigrade, then all the nitrogen, it converts into gaseous state and we can have nitrogen from this outlet and we can collect this nitrogen in gaseous form at minus 190 degree centigrade. Next in turn is the number of argon or the inert gas. From 196, now the temperature is 186. 186 degree C. That is 10 degrees more. It is 10 degrees more. So when the temperature is 186 degrees C, then argon, it converts into gaseous state, and we can have this argon from the other outlet which is below nitrogen, and this is also collected and used for different purposes. The main component of the air which is left here is oxygen. It has the highest boiling point, slightly lower than argon, and 183 when it is we continue warming up the liquid gas, liquid air, this oxygen it converts into vapor, and the bulk oxygen we collect into this reservoir or container. The oxygen is collected here in the form of gas, and it is used for various purposes. In this way, fractional distillation of air is done, and the main components nitrogen, oxygen, argon and carbon dioxide also, they are separated and we have them for different uses. So this is about the fractional distillation of air. We will also learn crystallization today. What is crystallization? Crystallization, as the name indicates, is formation of crystals. So crystallization, you should learn the spelling also. Crystallization. You can write Z also here. So what is crystallization? Crystallization is formation of crystals, and this technique is used to purify solids from their solution in the form of crystals. So what is crystallization? Formation of pure solid substances. From where? From their saturated solution. In which form? In the form of crystals. Crystals have definite shape and a geometrical shape. Suppose we have many crystals we know. One is copper sulfate crystal, CuSO4 5H2O. We have alum or Fitkari crystal, Al2SO4 whole thrice. So this is a compound of aluminium, and it also has K2SO4 24H2O. So this one is the formula of alum known as Fitkari. We also have crystals of Fitkari. Then we have crystals of common salt, NaCl, and many more, FeSO4 7H2O, Na2SO4 10H2O. So we have many crystals, many compounds in crystal form. So how these compounds, and this crystallization is better than the evaporation. In evaporation, all the impurities are settled with the compound, but in crystallization, all the impurities, they are left in solution. Suppose we want to form CuSO4 crystal, then what will we do? In a beaker, we take CuSO4 solution. We dissolve in water this copper sulfate, and we warm this or heat this solution. When heating is done, more and more copper sulfate can be dissolved in this water, and a very saturated, hypersaturated solution of this crystal sulfate, copper sulfate is formed. What happened next? We put this beaker for 1 or 2 days to cool it slightly, slowly this solution, it cools down. After, or we can put one thread in this also. This is the saturated solution, and we put one thread in this. After 1 or 2 days, what you will see, that the crystals of this copper sulfate, they are formed and they are attached to this thread. And this solution which is left, it is having impurities, and now it becomes dilute. So in this way, these copper sulfate crystals, they are being formed by the saturated solution of copper sulfate, and these are the purest form of copper sulfate. So crystallization is the process to purify solids from their impure solutions. This is all for today. Thank you.